Imagine a city made entirely of gold, shimmering under the sun, hidden deep in the uncharted jungles of South America. Explorers risked everything to find it, and some never returned. The legend of El Dorado is not just a tale of wealth, it's a story of ambition, obsession, and the relentless human pursuit of the impossible. For centuries, El Dorado has captured the imaginations of adventurers, conquistadors, and treasure hunters. It promised unimaginable wealth, power, and glory. But behind the glittering tales lay peril, mystery, and secrets that remain unsolved to this day. Today, we unravel the journey of explorers, the myths, and the hidden truths behind the legendary lost city. Our story begins not with maps and treasure chests, but with whispers. Whispers from the indigenous Muisca people carried on the jungle winds. They spoke of a ritual, a ceremony of profound significance. Imagine a new tribal chief, his body covered in gleaming gold dust, being rowed to the center of a sacred lake, Lake Guatavita. As the sun rises, he submerges himself, washing the gold into the depths as an offering to the gods. Following him, his people cast precious emeralds and golden artifacts into the water, creating a treasure bed at the bottom of the lake. These stories, passed down through generations, were not about a city, but about a man, the gilded one, El Dorado. When these tales reached the ears of the Spanish conquistadors in the early 16th century, they were distorted. The story of a golden man morphed into a legend of a golden city, a place of inexhaustible riches just waiting to be claimed. This single misunderstanding lit a fire of greed that would burn for centuries. The first expeditions were brutal. Men like Gonzalo Jimenez de Quesada pushed deep into what is now Colombia. Driven by pure avarice, they navigated treacherous mountains and dense, unfamiliar jungles. They fought off disease, starvation, and hostile tribes, all for a glimmer of gold. While they didn't find a city, they did find the Muisca people. They conquered them, tortured them for information, and plundered their gold. But what they found was never enough. It only fueled their belief that a much larger source, the city itself, was still out there, just beyond their grasp. The legend of El Dorado was no longer just a story. It was a fever. The 16th and 17th centuries became the golden age of El Dorado expeditions. The fever spread across Europe, attracting some of history's most famous and infamous explorers. Gonzalo Pizarro, the half-brother of the man who conquered the Incas, led a massive expedition out of Quito. With hundreds of Spaniards and thousands of indigenous porters, he marched into the Amazon, convinced he would return wealthier than any king. Instead, his journey became a nightmare. They ran out of food, resorting to eating their dogs and horses. Men succumbed to tropical diseases and were picked off by jungle predators. One of his lieutenants, Francisco de Orellana, was sent down a river in search of food. He never returned to Pizarro's main party. Instead, he and his men continued onward, completing the first-ever navigation of the entire Amazon River. Along the way, they claimed to have fought fierce female warriors, whom they named Amazons after the figures from Greek mythology, giving the river its name. Orellana found no golden city, but his incredible journey of survival only added to the mystique of the vast, unexplored continent. Even the English were captivated. Sir Walter Raleigh, a favorite of Queen Elizabeth I, led to expeditions to South America. He was convinced El Dorado was located in the highlands of Guyana. He wrote fantastical accounts of a great city on the shores of a massive inland sea, with golden palaces and streets paved with precious metals. His vivid descriptions, though likely exaggerated to secure funding from the crown, reignited the quest. But Raleigh, too, found nothing. His final desperate expedition cost him his son's life and ultimately led to his own execution in London. He had gambled everything on a legend and lost. With each failed expedition, the legend of El Dorado grew. It became more than just a place. It was an idea, a symbol of ultimate reward for ultimate risk. So what was it like for these explorers deep in the heart of the Amazon? The jungle itself was their greatest enemy. The heat was suffocating, the air thick with humidity and insects. Swollen rivers could sweep away entire parties in an instant. Poisonous snakes and spiders lurked under every leaf, and unseen predators like jaguars stalked them in the shadows. Journals from survivors paint a horrifying picture. They tell of men going mad from hunger and fever, of getting lost and wandering in circles for weeks, and of constant gnawing fear. The psychological toll was immense. The jungles seemed to actively resist them, guarding its secrets. Yet, the allure of El Dorado was a powerful anesthetic against the pain and terror. Every glint of mica in a riverbed, every shimmering reflection of the sun, was twisted by their desperate hope into a sign that the city was near. Just over the next ridge, just around the next bend in the river, this relentless optimism in the face of certain death is a testament to the power of human obsession. So, if there was no golden city, what were they all chasing? Modern archaeology has begun to peel back the layers of the myth. While no city of gold has ever been found, evidence points to the reality that inspired the legend. Archaeologists have confirmed that the Muisca people were expert goldsmiths. They created stunningly intricate artifacts, not as currency, but for ritualistic and spiritual purposes. Gold was sacred, a representation of the sun's divine energy and the sacred lake, Guatavita. It's real. Several attempts have been made to drain it over the centuries. In the 1580s, one attempt partially lowered the water level, revealing hundreds of golden artifacts along the shoreline. A later effort in the early 20th century managed to drain the lake almost completely, but the soft, deep mud at the bottom hardened into concrete under the sun before it could be properly excavated. When the rains returned and refilled the lake, its greatest treasures remained hidden. However, the artifacts that were recovered proved that the core of the legend, the ritual of casting gold into a lake, was true. El Dorado wasn't a place, but a ceremony. The city of gold was a fabrication, a European fantasy projected onto a complex indigenous culture. This brings us to the core of the El Dorado story, the psychology of the chase. Why would so many risk everything for a myth? It's a question about human nature itself. The legend of El Dorado taps into some of our deepest desires, for wealth, for glory, for a life beyond the ordinary. It represents the ultimate gamble, the belief that one single discovery could change everything. For the conquistadors, it was about greed and conquest. For explorers like Raleigh, it was also about national pride and personal ambition. For many, the obsession became a kind of madness, a fever that blinded them to reason, logic, and the human cost of their quest. The pursuit of El Dorado is a powerful cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and how easily the thirst for discovery can curdle into destructive obsession. It shows us that sometimes the map we follow leads not to a hidden treasure, but to the darkest corners of our own hearts. Imagine being one of the divers in that brief period when Lake Guatavita was drained. You reach into the thick, dark ooze, and your fingers close around something hard and cool. You pull it out, brushing away centuries of mud to reveal the glint of pure gold. An offering, untouched, for hundreds of years. In that moment, you would feel it all: the thrill of discovery, the weight of history, the echo of all those who died searching for this very thing. That is the essence of El Dorado. It's not just a city of gold, it's a symbol of the ultimate human chase, the timeless fascination with what lies just beyond our reach, forever calling to us from the unknown. In the end, the lost city of gold will likely remain lost, because it never truly existed. But the legend of El Dorado lives on. It lives in the shimmering waters of Lake Guatavita, in the impenetrable green of the Amazon jungle, and in the spirit of anyone who dares to dream of the impossible. Perhaps the real treasure was never the gold itself. Maybe the real treasure is the story of courage, of obsession, of discovery, and of the enduring power of human curiosity. It teaches us that sometimes the journey itself is more valuable than any destination. If this tale of lost gold and legendary adventure captivated you, hit that like button and let us know in the comments which explorer's journey you find most fascinating. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you can join us as we uncover more hidden stories from history. Thanks for watching.